I just pressed record. Can you say that again? I'm just joking. Tell me again.
You want me to say that again? You want me to say that again?
Yeah, go ahead. What did you say?
So I said just before that Facebook chaos that destroyed my StreetText page,
Yeah.
I got a very good lead from StreetText, and then I posted the same. I started advertising his house through StreetText, and I got the buyer from StreetText. Now I am representing buyer and seller. Thank you. I'm waiting for my $50,000 check.
Awesome.
Yes. But I have a question. Again, well, since 2 days ago that the Facebook started like running my page again, because it was deactivated for almost 2 months. I put the advertisement and I got 5 leads. But today I'm seeing that it says that your Facebook token is invalid. Please visit this page and reconnect your page. So when I go through that, it comes to the very first page of a StreetText, and it says that your page cannot be found. And I haven't received any new leads since last night. So I think something's wrong.
So I would use the little chat feature in your dashboard. There's a little chat feature on the bottom right.
With Aiden, okay.
I'll connect you with Aiden. And then when in doubt, always use support at StreetText.com as well. And then you'll get some articles that'll kind of point you in the right direction on how to reconnect everything. They'll be working with you on that shortly.
Okay, I'll talk to her. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Congratulations on the win. All right, everybody, we're just going to get started here in a second. And well, why don't we just get started, Ira? Go.
I think so. Yeah, we're 2 minutes in. So if you've come to this webinar, you are coming. Mostly, we find that people come to this webinar are in trial. You're looking to figure out like what are the best ways to use your trial. We give you like a 10,000 foot view, an overview of everything, but know that you get a coach, you get somebody that's going to help you apply what we go through here. So you'll see us clicking and going through things fairly quickly. We'll have a course for you to go through it a little bit slower and some one-on-one help, plus a whole community of people who are sharing their wins, sharing how this is working. So know that this is just the beginning stages of all of that. So if you don't have a trial, you can start one and you'll get a coach as soon as you start that trial. Sometimes people come back to this webinar just to overview all of the basics, to see the 10,000 foot view and then understand mostly ad performance. We're living in a day and age where like you're standing 6 feet from somebody in Starbucks wearing a mask, and our businesses are built on relationships and conversations. So it's getting harder to build relationships in the ways that we usually leaned on. Even just open houses and the way those are run are more challenging. So where do you go to start new conversations? A lot of people think about Facebook advertising as a way to generate leads, and it is, but it's more about generating conversations that turn into conversions. That's the key. And you're going to see that in the way that we set the ads up. The ads aren't just you having a presence on social media. The ads are really a chance to start a conversation with new people, particularly within a 15-mile radius of where you live, because Facebook has a Housing Discriminatory Act. So how do we work that to our advantage? How do you set up your ads to work best, to work that 15-mile radius and get the best results out of that? So that's part of what we're going to cover here. The only way you're going to meet new people on Facebook, where everybody's living and spending inordinate amounts of time, is to use the Facebook Ads Manager. Like, I was laughing because there was somebody the other day that has a different Facebook profile than mine, and we had to go into their ads manager and they couldn't even find it. They're like, I don't even know how to get to the ads manager, let alone launch an ad. So, you know, the ads manager is also known as the labyrinth of frustration and confusion. If you've ever tried to actually launch an ad on Facebook, you're just met with this like abyss of choices, and you have no idea what choice is a good choice. A lot of people will say to us, hey, you know, I'm using Facebook, I've used it. We'll ask them if they've had good results, and they're often wavery on that. They say, well, I'm not sure. What is good results? I can't. So we kind of want to change that relationship for you with the Facebook Ads Manager. We kind of want to become your in-between person. Don't use the Facebook Ads Manager. Don't log into it on your Facebook unless absolutely necessary. What you do is you use StreetText.com. So when you log into StreetText and you have your account, we're connected to your Facebook page, and it allows you to launch ads from our dashboard. And the important part is our ads are proven. We have 30 templates or over 30 templates, even the ability to do custom templates, but you launch the ads within our dashboards. 60% click to contact ratio is some of the stats on our ads. That means 60% of people clicking on the ad are actually leaving you some form of contact information. Industry standard falls anywhere between 2 and 5%. So we know that the ads work and the reason that they work. So we're going to show you one, how do you set up an ad to speak to that 15-mile radius to get the best results? Why you might have already seen this ad launch and you're thinking, that's it, that the map, like what is this? This is the best you got, and it works and why it works. And then we're also going to explain to you the most important concept. And the most important concept you'll learn here, regardless of whether you're using StreetText moving forward, is when you set up an ad, Facebook watches that ad for the first 24 hours very closely. They're asking themselves this question: does this accomplish our goal? What is Facebook selling people? They're selling people attention. They're selling the attention span of people. So if your ad distracts from them and their attention, keeping you in your newsfeed, they don't want your ad on their newsfeed. So what they do is they watch your ad for the first 24 hours, in particular the reaction of the audience to that ad, and they give your ad a score. The higher that score, the better, because it means they're going to charge you less. You're going to meet more leads. So you could be spending the same amount of money, but because you split test, as we're going to teach you, for audience reaction by launching multiple ads over a 24-hour period, you land on the most interactive ad, and that is the ad that Facebook gives the highest score to, and therefore you're spending X amount of dollars and getting way more leads at the same spend. So we want to make sure it's not just about launching one of our templates, waiting to see what happens. It's about us teaching you how to use those templates to do a split test, and 24 hours later, picking the best ad, and then the conversation shifts. Now we have lead flow. Now, how do we bridge the gap? They've asked for something. In this case, it's going to be their home value. Now you get to respond to that in a way that speaks to your professionalism and how you work, increases their know, like, and trust of you, and builds that back and forth conversation to an invite to their home to give them more depth value on that. That's how you win. Guess what? Our whole community is sharing how they're doing that. That's the cool part. Sometimes you feel all alone in this. Our community is like, this is the text I'm sending, and I got to change from this just by changing this word. This is the email I'm sending. This is the video I'm using. And sometimes you just need to lean on other people instead of reinventing the wheel all the time. Some of us will try to reinvent the wheel right out of the gate, but then we always navigate back and we're like, maybe I'm wasting my time reinventing the wheel. Maybe I should just follow in the footsteps of people who are already succeeding. So let's jump into someone's account. So if you have connected your trial account to a Facebook page and you're ready to go, we're going to use someone's account to demo. So does someone have that connected? You can use mine, Dan Clark said.
Dan's a sign up already, so
Okay.
Dan, you don't have a trial account.
Casey said I do.
But you'll see. Casey, yes. Let's see here. Does we have our full name there?
Espinazo. I'll probably brutalize that. ESPI.
Hold on. Let me get in the dashboard.
It's Espinoza.
I just saw it quickly and just as
No,
it came out
that's
of my
okay.
mouth, I
It's
didn't
fine.
even try.
I'm
Put
just
it,
teasing you.
put it in the chat feature, and then I'll copy and paste it for my search. Oh, there it is. I can see it. Okay.
I have like my trial set up, and I went in yesterday and turned my ad off. So it's set up to my Facebook page. So
Yeah, no worries. And we're gonna set you up right now to
sweet.
crush it. Okay, so you get into the dashboard, you see something like this. This is going to be for everybody unless you're a full live sign up like Dan is. But you'll have this. It's going to be the same fundamentals we're going to walk you through. If you go to your couple sections, I mean, if you're starting your trial and you just launched an ad, you obviously want to know what's happening with that ad. So you turn yours off. And here's the thing: anytime you feel like you're like, oh boy, what's happening? Are they spending my money? Blah, 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 blah. Like, just go to this little button right here and toggle it off from green to gray. That'll automatically pause your ads. Like Ira said, you don't have to go there and figure out through your ads manager. You don't need to go there. This is now your ad manager. this is now where you're going to be looking at stats, and it's not going to be confusing. You're basically going to look at how much you spent and what your cost per lead is. I mean, that's the two numbers I'm really going to work with you, and we all are going to work with you on. You know, as you get a little bit more, you know, informed, we'll start walking you through like some other numbers to really be concerned about or really monitor. But right now, I'm just going to be looking in this little data area around the spend, how much you spent on that particular ad and how many leads have come out of it. And we're going to divide those into cost per lead and cost per email. Okay, so it's going to be pretty informative in terms of how do you, determine if your ad should be continuing or not. Now, can't see your ad right there, so it must be because we paused it. But really what I want to work with everybody on is understanding that when someone submits their information, they're going to see an ad. The ad itself is going to look similar to this. I'll pull up another account shortly here to show you what the ad actually looks like on your newsfeed. But once they click through that particular ad, immediately they're looking at the same image that they clicked on for the ad itself. And it's going to be a map of your general area. So the Buckeye area, and really 15 miles surrounding it. And before I move forward, this is important to realize for Facebook, including Canada, 15 miles, 24 kilometers for Canadians is a minimum targeting standard. So you can't go in there and just type in your town, even your city, because in most cases, 15 miles expands outside the city. So it's so important to adjust your ad image as well as your ad copy, the actual writing and text on it, to reflect the 15 miles. And so more importantly than ever, now you first want to get clear with where am I most willing to drive north, south, east, and west and expand my influence. Okay. Now it's not perfect. I get it, but everybody has to do it. And so it's not like you're alone in the industry. It's like there's no workaround here unless you're, near the body, like an ocean or mountains, and you can take the pin drop because it'll show you the circle and like move it out and just capture part of the coast. And I'll show you what that looks like. But before you do anything, pause all your ads if you haven't done this. Focus on now rebuilding the ad with the 15-mile targeting as your first step. What I mean by that is, I'll just show you. So for you, Casey, if you want to unmute yourself, we'll use you as the example because actually we are in your account.
Okay.
So when we go to build your seller ads, here's the funnel we'll be building out of. It's in your 7-day trial template. You can run buyers and listings as well, but we're going to focus right now on sellers. So what is good about this particular funnel is that, you may not be able to like, or even acknowledged it when you went and looked in your StreetText dashboard. But this particular funnel, as of last month, 22,325 tests on it. Pretty impressive. Now, here's what the impressive thing is. Anybody can run an ad and get lucky. But if you combine all those stats and still get 60% or more of those clicks becoming a contact, you've just, you don't have to put on your marketing hat anymore. It's there, it's done. Even when it's done wrong, it works. But the key is if you work it right and then learn what we're about to tell you, which is called a split test, and how do you actually test the different audiences? Because with 15 miles, every time you run a new ad, it's like taking a shotgun and like going out to 15 miles. You don't know where it's going to go in that 15 miles. You just hope it's landing on the ideal homeowner who's like 40 years old and, has got a bunch of equity in their home and, a perfect neighborhood in that 15 miles for you. I mean, so don't ever assume it's going to present itself to the right audience within the first $10 of that ad spend. So we're going to show you kind of how to hack Facebook a little bit in terms of game it. You're going to game it like you would game the Vegas, blackjack table or the pull in the slot machine. Like you're not going to play one hand at a time, get lucky. I mean, I guess you could if you had that mentality and, sometimes you get lucky, but if you're really trying to game it, you're going to play multiple hands and you're going to play multiple hands so you can have multiple audiences looking at it. And that's what we're really going to show you today. The cost per lead on average, and this is, high-end markets like Beverly Hills and, $1 million plus luxury markets and, the bottom of the bottom. I don't know where that would be in North America. I don't know what the lowest cost home you could get, but if you combine them all, the average cost per lead, and we call it an address, at least on the seller funnel, is a $2.20 address. So you could write that down if you kind of want to have some numbers to focus on. The average cost per email is $6. Now, so what does that tell you? It tells you that 1 in 3 addresses should be an email. Okay, because you're going to have a section that pulls in all addresses. You're going to have a section that pulls in address plus email and more information, which you're about to see. And the average cost per email is $18. So what else does that tell you? It's almost like in threes. Think about in threes, 1 in 3 addresses become an email. 1 in 3 emails become a phone number. That's just the law of averages I'm seeing on this funnel. So we can take information like this and say, really get aggressive with the way our ads are performing and say, okay, if it's performing in line or somewhat in line, and again, that's why you have a coach, because we're going to work with you depending on where you are and what market. Maybe you spend a little bit more money per lead, right? If you're in a $700,000 home market on average, right? It's not like I can compare that same thing to you, but we'll work with you on that, and we have that calculated into what your cost per lead should be. But just so you know, this is the funnel you're going to be working on. It works 60% of the time. And now here's where you need to focus on building it properly. So here's the blank template. All right, it's just basically saying there's a big picture of North America, and it's saying if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it, find its value in the current market? Don't launch this one. You need to put stuff in there. Now, Casey, I'm going to, and for all of you here, I'm going to bypass this step altogether. I'm going to just go next, and I'm going to do this intentionally for you, so you can see first and foremost the actual right step. And first step should be to drop a pin acknowledging that 15 miles or 24 kilometers for you guys in Canada. So what do? Well, I click on this button, drop a pin. Now, Casey, if you could tell me what's the zip code and or address you'd think you'd be mostly driving from if you were going to incorporate this 15 miles.
I'm driving from is 85326.
85326.
That's where I live.
And that is, you're in Ohio,
Buckeye,
right?
No, Buckeye, Arizona.
Arizona, sorry. I shows you how much I know of that area. Buckeyes just automatically came to me, the Ohio State. Okay, Buckeye. So here's Buckeye in Arizona. Now I'm going to open this. You can't really see because you're next to Phoenix, but I'm going to open this up. And the reason why I'm going to do that, because if I actually start zooming in a little bit and show you where that 15 miles is going to extend into. Now, that's why you start with your pin drop, because now you can clearly see it's going up to the regional park, west to Arlington, south to, I don't know where, desert land, maybe.
And then desert land, it's nothing.
Yeah. No, so, I mean, in your way, you're almost hacking this a little bit because it's only going to go, and you can move this pin wherever you want, right? So, but at the end of the day, this is the audience on Facebook. It would most likely be putting it in front of. So now that you see this little map here, would you move this?
Yes.
Okay, and so that's why you do this. Now, where would you move it to?
So my brokerage office is in Goodyear.
Yeah. So do you want Goodyear to be the frame of reference, and you can kind of even go into, or is that too?
Yes.
Yeah. You want
no.
Goodyear? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No.
Yes. Leave it there because it covers
Okay.
Buckeye, which is where I live, and a lot of the surrounding West Valley. So.
Okay, perfect. So you see what you're going to do now is you're going to obviously tap into a larger audience. You're going to get Surprise, Sun City, Glendale,
Yes.
Outskirts of Phoenix, and Goodyear and Liberty and Buckeye and all these other areas. So this is a smart thing. This is why you're at this demo, because if you would have tried it the other way, not only have you would have only been speaking to Buckeye people, but Facebook would like, I don't care. I'm just going to throw it to 15 miles outside of Buckeye. And so anybody that saw that ad and didn't say I live in Buckeye would pass by it and probably not click on it, right? So that's why you start here. Now, once you lock in and you say, okay, Goodyear's my area, now you're just basically escaping or going to this top corner, and you're going to click done. Okay. Now, I'm just going to use Goodyear because I know Goodyear is your spot. So I'm going to do that. We already know that's what we chose.
Okay.
And I'm going to actually do Command C on my computer. It's a Mac, but you can do copy paste, and I'm going to do it for a reason, because now that I click done here, I've locked into a longitude and latitude. It's like 33.43 minus 112. Don't worry what that means. It just means you locked into your pin drop. Now,
Okay.
once you've locked into it, you're basically going back to the design, because now you're designing it, what it's going to look like. And you're putting in Goodyear, because that's your point of reference. And it defaults on a satellite, but you can make it a map, even a terrain, just pulls in the mountains. We'll start with the map.
Okay.
And now in this case, it's basically perfectly set up. You know, I mean, you could, if you really wanted to, you can kind of move it around a little bit and, you know, make it zoom in maybe just a little bit. But I mean, I think ideally that's probably the right image to use, something like that. And then you're not putting Goodyear on the actual city and or neighborhood copy, like up here. You could leave it blank, but what we've been doing and seeing some good success with in this trial is using a website called emojipedia.org. And we're just going to grab a home emoji. Okay. Home emoji, and we'll work with you in it. Don't worry. But Ira can even put it in the chat feature. This is what we've been doing. And actually, we've been running 3 home emojis there, and it works pretty well. So 3 home emojis. Now it's basically saying if someone were to buy your home emojis, would you sell it? Find its value in the current market. And here's the thing, because you started with your ad targeting, now you locked into your target and you used the image and adjusted the image to reflect that 15 miles. No longer do you have to say anything in the city or town description. The image speaks to that audience. The targeting's already been locked in. And of course, you know, the home emojis are kind of popping the eyes up, but really they're being drawn into the find my value. So that's the way you set up the ad. Now really you go back to the ad targeting. It's already locked in. You can go next there, and it's defaulted at $9 a day for that ad spend. And it's only because it's been tested for 5+ years now. So it's not a bad start. Some markets I actually suggest to go a little bit higher if you're in a higher end market. 9 is still pretty good. I mean, you could always adjust, and your coach will kind of work with you on that. It's defaulted on Facebook where it's going to go live, but there's also an Instagram option. Now, my recommendation is just to leave it on Facebook for now. Instagram is more of a buyer focused tool, and we can use it with buyers. But just leave it on Facebook for now, and we'll work with you on getting it onto Instagram as well. And then the last thing is basically what your estimated commission would be. So, I mean, what do you think you would make, you know, give or take, if you sold a home in that area?
Give me 1 second. Sorry.
And the reason being for you guys to kind of think about that too is that's also going to reflect what we think your cost per lead can be. And we calculate in your cost per lead that you could convert 1.5% of leads with at least an email and an address. That's, you know, come on, that's online average. You know, you could do that if you just like close your eyes and let these leads come in. But you're not going to just do the bare minimum. We're going to teach you how to be amazing lead converters as well, because the game of Facebook is way different than Zillow or Trulia or Realtor and Redfin and all those other websites where people are looking. You're stopping their feed, interrupting their news feed, actually. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Casey, did you figure it out?
So it'd be around 7,000.
Okay, yeah, we were right close there. So you adjust that, and then you just deploy. Now, once you deploy, it's so important to recognize what's happening from the lead's perspective. Because, you know, and then coming full circle, the reason being is because now you need to know what the lead's going to see in their feed. And you want to be the lead. Be the lead for a second. Take off your real estate hat and your glasses and, you know, your experiences of, you know, I'm going to advertise and lead generate. Now be the homeowner. Be the homeowner, because if you can really put yourself in their shoes and experience what they just experienced and see what they're seeing and think about what they're thinking in that moment, they're just, you know, you can pull out your phone right now and click on Facebook, start scrolling down your feed. That's where the ad's going to be. And the ad, it's simply going to say, if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it? Find its value in the current market. So what do you think that homeowner is doing or thinking when they put in their information? Anybody? I'm probably like, they're probably thinking I'm going to get some sort of automated home value, right?
Mm-hmm.
No idea that they're going to be connecting with a person at that moment in time.
Yeah, I think
How
they're
do
just
you-
gonna get the email.
Yeah. So how do you destroy that narrative? You are there when they visit their email. How are you there when they visit their email? Anybody?
AI or automated replies.
Video.
Video. Yes.
Yeah.
For the win. Guess what? It's no longer a option for you realtors out there. It's a non-negotiable. Because if you're digitally door knocking, which is in this case what you're going to be doing, you're not going to be at their home as a letter on the ground and hoping that they read it the way you want it to and then kind of doorbell ditch. That's what I compare emails without video, right? No, you're going to be there and saying, hey, it's, Casey from blah, blah, blah real estate. Thank you so much for your Facebook home valuation request. I'm going to be personally working on this. Just to let you know, this is a rough draft, preliminary assessment. Until I'm able to actually talk to you, I won't be able to give you an in-depth market analysis, right? So in a way, you're setting them up to see that this is a wide open algorithm. And we're going to show you some examples of that because it's all about tapping into that conversation. Okay, now back into the section itself. So that's where, your ads will be right here. It's all set up. It's going to take probably an hour or two for Facebook to approve it.
Okay.
Now, before I go into this, because this is a really, really important thing, Ira, this ad that I just created, why would they do anything? I mean, they could let this ad run and just like see, hey, what happens, whatever happens, happens. What do we talk about and what have we been talking about for the last 5 years on actually how to game this ad in itself, Ira? What is the split test?
Yeah, so when we set up the split test, every time you launch an ad, you are basically throwing it out. So we've seen that big blue circle. You've seen how many people are inside that big blue circle. When Facebook launched the ad, they randomly picked an audience to test the ad against. So that randomized pick, if I were to do it a second time, Facebook is actually going to pick an entirely different audience. If I were to run the ad a third time, Facebook's going to pick an entirely different audience. There are three different subsets of audiences if I run 3 ads back to back that are going to be chosen and tested in the next 24 hours that the ad is running. And each of those audiences are going to react differently. So let's say that we just finished launching, got it out there. The 500 people that Facebook picks in that first 24 hours. So we say 500 because within 24 hours, you're getting the ad in front of 500 people. And it's that 500 mark that Facebook makes their decision on. What if that first 500 were just indifferent? You just caught them on a day where they scrolled right past it. They didn't like, they didn't comment, they did nothing with the ad. Facebook's assumption is that your ad looks like an ad and it feels like an ad, and therefore they don't want it in the newsfeed. So they give you a really low relevancy score, and therefore they're going to charge you a lot. Like if only a couple people click, their goal is to spend your $9. So they're going to say, well, let's make those clicks like $4 because we only had 2 people click in the first 24 hours. So you're at the random mercy of that audience's reaction. So the question is, do you want to be at the random mercy of that one audience set, or do you want to test different audience sets? So if we go in and set up the ad exactly the same way, we change nothing. We put the pin in the same spot. We run the ad exactly the same way you just saw it set up. The second time we set it up, Facebook pulls another random audience. It's not the same audience. So now we're testing another audience and their reaction. What if their reaction is extremely favorable? What if they click? What if they comment? What if they share? What if they go through? Facebook then says, good job. You built an ad that looks like it belongs in the news feed. People are clicking on it. They're interactive with it. They gave you a high relevancy score, which establishes a low cost per click. It's the exact same ad, but because the audience was very interactive, you now have you're more favorable in Facebook's eyes, and that ad is going to continue to pull out way more leads than the other ad, just solely based on that audience reaction. So then what you do is within 24 hours, we're going to know which of those 3 audiences that we just launched was the most responsive. And by keeping that ad on, you're now saying to Facebook, whoever these people were that you targeted and they clicked, continue to find like-minded profiles on Facebook, which increases the likelihood that that ad's now going to continue at a better response. So it's key. Test, don't guess, is what we say.
Or the opposite, you get it done, right?
Yeah.
And like, hey, think of it in the you know, analogy of 52 cards in a deck of cards, right? You're gonna occasionally get a 2 or a 3, and it's not wild. You know, you're gonna get it. And so you gotta assume, like, Facebook is a testing ground. It's an auction. Everything comes down to timing and who it gets in front of. Now, the thing is, this particular ad works 60% of the time. Does it mean this split test, this round of 3 is going to work for you? Not necessarily. I've had times where, you know, I'll give an example. In Portland, Oregon, the other day, we ran 3 series of split tests before we landed the home run. And really, what I found with those split tests is that $9 just didn't cut it in that area. I don't know why. Maybe it was seasonal. Maybe it was the holidays. We jumped it up by $3, went to $12, turned the image into a terrain image instead of the map or the satellite. Bam, home run. And you know, if he would have given up on the first round, he would have said, oh, StreetText doesn't work for me. I'm like, no, you just need a test and split tests and an A/B test, because a split test is 3 of the same ads. An A/B test is a slight variable change. So if I went from map to satellite, that's an A/B test. If I went from map to terrain, that's an A/B test. If I went from 3 emojis to 2 emojis, that's an A/B test, right? If I went from no emojis to putting in emojis, that's an A/B test. So that means a slight change. But a split test is the same exact ad. What's the only variable? Your audience, right? Because every time you run a new ad, just like Iris said, you're reaching a new segment sample of that 15-mile population. So there's your kind of your education for today. Now let's get into the standpoint of someone just clicked on my ad, what's happening? Well, the first thing they're going to do is analyze their property. I mean, the obvious is you need to give me an address if I'm going to give you a home value. So that's why this funnel works so good, because it's not like I'm saying, give me your name, your phone number, your email, information about your home, time frame for selling, name, all of it right up front. That's called a lead ad, and we do that, but this is not the time to do it. You're doing this dynamically. This is the science. This is what makes StreetText so effective, as opposed to you trying to do this on your own. You do this on your own, your cost per lead is going to astronomically go high, because you're going to lose so many people, and they're going to say, no, I'm not going to give you all my information. No way, right? I just wanted a home value. I thought this was free, right? So start with this. This is why this is so effective. Now, as I put in the address here, what you need to know is happening is I click on analyze my property, no matter what, that address is collected. And we have had so many people turn address onlys into listing appointments. It's another discussion, but we'll talk about that separately, because do not dismiss an address only. That's going to be collected inside of your contact section in a section that says address only. Surprise, surprise. Right there. Okay. Now, how does the address only become a contact? Well, for the system register as a contact, they have to provide an email, right? Now, if I put my email in and I do not give you permission to contact me by email, I remain an address only. I have to click on a little box. Remember, I'm the homeowner now. I'm not this realtor, I'm the homeowner. Okay, clicking next. Now, what needs to be the thought like is, if I'm going to be getting 1 in 3 of these addresses becoming an email, what's my thought process? I need to capitalize on this email. I really need to make it an effective communication. So we're going to teach you. We have tons of training on it, but I'm just going to give you a little taste of what that might look like. So, you know, here's the thing. If I go to you right now and I just check my email, Casey, I'm going to get this email from you. I'm going to get an email. It's going to say, received your Facebook home valuation request for 133 Glen Ridge Avenue, Los Gatos, California, and I'm on it. Now, that's where I grew up, by the way. That's why I put California in. Now, it's going to be a generic email that says, just want to let you know I received your Facebook request and I'm on it. Are there any updates or renovations that I should be aware of? You know, if they click on your website, maybe they do, but most likely they're probably going to be like, feel a little bit like, oh, you just bait and switched me. I thought I was getting an automatic home value, right? You're probably going to get some unsubscribes, maybe, you know, some, I was just curious, or defense mechanisms showing up. This, and remember, there's still more in this funnel we're going to capture, but this is what's happening automatically. So what we want to show you our best agents are doing is this instead. See the difference? You are the different, right? See what I mean? This is the big takeaway. You're in a day and age where everything is virtual now. Do not allow that experience to be misinterpreted. And guess what? Text is the most, you guys have all gotten text wars with people. They misinterpret your words. And that's going to be the first thing a homeowner does, is they're going to think you're just trying to sell their home. So it's all about how you connect. It's all about how you humanize the process. We call it the know, like, and trust model. So just trust us when we say that. There's a lot of ways to do it. But I mean, just imagine, I'll just give you a fun, quick little, you know, fun one. I always like this one because I'm a DI in the disc profile. So this resonates with me, but you might be someone different. So don't think you have to do it Marley's way, but this is just a fun example of what you could even put in there.
Hi, I'm Marley with Elevate Real Estate. I got your request for the home price evaluation and I am on it. Oh, and by the way, I left a link to my Facebook profile page below. I'll just be sending you a really quick friend request. Want to make sure you get a chance to meet me. I'll talk soon. Bye.
And don't worry, like there's so many personalities. We have so many script examples that we can share with you of people and how they're doing it. So we have a free training on this. So don't think of don't get worried. It's supposed to be about being fun and being genuine and authentically you, even if that just is quick intro for 10 seconds. Now, once that fires off, we're going to teach you the art of making sure that is getting opened, played, links that you want in there being clicked on. But remember, that's just the second part of the funnel. The third part of the funnel, they get deeper into it and start telling you information about their home. Maybe it's good, but you know, they could have given you their email and just moved out of the funnel, right? At that, there's nothing forcing them to get to here. Remember, because an address is collected. If they don't put their email, it doesn't move forward. If they put in their email, it moves forward to this capture. And this is where we're telling us a little bit about their home, needs a bit of work, needs a lot of work, age updates, renovations. Perhaps there was a recent run. All that stuff can be put in here. New kitchen, right? Details. Sell date, drop down menu. Are they refinancing? Are they just curious? Are they looking to sell immediately, 1 to 3 months, within 6 months, 6+ months? This is all, again, I don't put a lot of weight here because I've seen so many just curiouses naturally have to sell, but they're going to put this as a defense mechanism because they don't want to just tell you without knowing where this is going, and they just don't want to be solicited. Now, this is an important piece right here for you, Casey, because this is your brand. This is your picture, right? This is pulling in from your business page. So one of the things that you want to acknowledge, there's 2 things. Number 1, in your settings, which is this little gear up here on the very top that takes you to your settings, there's the profile account settings. So one of the things you want to do from the beginning is update a slogan. Okay, for now, Casey, I'm just going to put your friendly neighborhood expert, but you can change this. And do update your website information. Don't worry about a bio, guys. No one's going to see the bio, but your slogan is imperative. And I'll explain why. Because if I save the changes here and I go back to this part of the funnel, you'll see if I do a quick refresh on the screen, it naturally pulls in right here. Now, another thing you can do to enhance this process to get more phone numbers is check to see if you have any Facebook reviews. How do you do that? Well, you go to settings, Facebook pages, reviews. And if you do have any, they will be in there. If you don't worry about it. Can't pull it in from third-party like sources like Zillow and Trulia. It's just got to be a Facebook specific one. But do check, because if you do have it, you can click as a favorite and they will pull into that part of the funnel. And then so at that point, one last thing, there's a little tab. Like if you go to your dashboard, you have your ad running at $9 a day. And then you have activate your auto text responder. That needs to happen if you're running an ads. And let me explain, this is your speed to lead. This is your AI. So someone mentioned an AI earlier. Well, AIs are only the artificial intelligence or that text message assistant or the autoresponder, you can call it. This automatic text message sequence is set up for you, but you have to activate it and choose a local number first. So for you, Casey, am I choosing, I'm guessing like a 602 would be something I'm looking for?
Yeah, 602, 623, 480, any of those are
Okay, so you
common.
go,
in the area.
obviously, go to your country, and I'll try 602 to start. We'll just see what's available. 602, 480 is the other one, right?
Yeah, or 623. 480 is more like, I don't know, it's weird with how it is, but yeah, 602 or 623.
623, yes, got one. Okay, and you just pull it in, and it's just something that will identify. It's not your number, remember, it's just a local area code that will identify with those leads, because they want to feel like they're being texted by someone local. And their name, this text message assistant you have, her name is Julie. Okay, so unless you're here and you're a realtor and your name is Julie, you don't need to change her. Trust me, she gets more replies than you will if you use her properly. So when you activate that, then this is the time to put in the phone number. I mean, obviously, from the leads perspective, they don't know they're going to get automatic text. But as soon as I click on send me my value, in 3 minutes, as the homeowner, I'm getting a text from your assistant, Julie. Okay. And so what you need to know is that you have this funnel settings, and we'll work with you on it as your coach, where you can adjust those emails just like that video I showed you, pull in an email signature, change a little bit of the questions you're asking to be more personal, and also look at the automations that are firing out, because this has an entire sequence ready for you to actually put your personal touch on it. They're going to be getting a text from Julie that says, "Hi, Marcus, this is Julie. I work with Casey. I see you're interested in your home value. Is there anything specific about your home that may affect its value?" i.e. updates, right? 11 minutes later, if they don't respond to that, just let me know if I can help. A day later, if they don't respond to that. So, but if they do respond, everything stops, you role play and take over the conversation. It won't send them another text. So any response will be sent to you by text message. But all the leads that you get, just, leads in general, you're going to be notifications through email. Makes sense? And again, I think the key is to acknowledge this is an elephant. You need to eat it one bite at a time. You're going to feel a little overwhelmed in the beginning if you just try to figure that out for yourself, which is why you have a coach. Okay, complimentary. Don't feel like we're just going to sell you on it. Guess what? We're not going to, because we're going to give you all these trainings for free, the StreetText Academy for free. We're going to invite you into our Facebook group. Where is it? I got it somewhere over here. Oh, I'll have to find it. Here you go. This group is free for you too. And this group is awesome. It's going to show you like what we're doing, how, the best script strategies. This is a group for everybody. And you have this group forever. Even if you don't move beyond the trial, you can sit in here and learn, and see what our best agents are doing. And we even have courses that we've built with some of our best agents. We're building a couple more. This particular course is Donna Swansea. She's done over 200 deals with StreetText and starting in 2015, Fort Worth, Texas. So she was one of the OGs with using BombBomb video inside of her autoresponders and personally following up with people. Before video was so popular, she kind of got on board, and now video is like everything, right? Video is important, but it's also important to measure that video, because if you're sending a video, putting in your automations, and you're not getting it opened or the video watched, or the links that you have in there that you're trying to book the appointment with clicked on, what's the point, right? So we need to work on also measuring your follow-up, not just generating leads, measuring your follow-up. And so we have a lot of training for that. And yeah, I mean, I just would honestly tell you, like, this is the meeting you're at today, but one of the things you want to acknowledge is that we have something for you almost daily. One of the best meetings you can attend next week, if you've never been to one, is the StreetText Mastermind. That'll allow you to be on average, we have about 70 or more people show up. And it's all our agents that are actively subscribed to a StreetText and the people that are actually doing the deals, not me talking or Ira talking, but they are telling you what they're doing, how they're doing it, what are the integrations they're using, what are their scripts, what do their mailers look like for their address only, how are they using systems like True People Search and tax records and Spokio and LinkedIn and Facebook and all these other things to connect the dots. How do they use their systems, KV Core, or Follow Up Boss or Lion Desk? And because we can do email parsing, we can do Zapier integrations. Some people are using HomeBot. Like there's so many moving pieces. And you need to know that we have trainings for every one of those pieces, whether it's converting your leads, reviewing your ads, a custom ads class. Because at the end of the day, you're just working right now with one funnel. Moving beyond this trial, look at this. You're just full of the funnels, buyers, sellers, listings, custom ads, all with their own automations, all with their own training. So yes, you're 10,000 foot view right now.
Yeah, I know Jessica had asked if she can ask a question. So Jessica, do you want to go?
Yeah, you may have answered it already. I'm so sorry I had to take a really quick call, but what about the fair housing criteria? In our area, when we post ads, we can't discriminate against age or location or things like that. So how would that work?
Yeah, that's all covered in the way we run the ads. That's your house, everyone's privy to that. So that's that 15-mile radius, and our ads are set up to abide by that. So that's how we work it now. But depending on your area, what area are you in, Jessica?
I'm in Northern California in Fremont.
Fremont, yeah. So we have lots of users using you there. We would just adjust your blue circle, and there's little tweaks you could do. We have some people in New York. I mean, that 15-mile radius puts them into a crazy amount of population. So there's ways to kind of tweak it to try to get a little bit more localized leads and be okay with a little bit of a higher cost, because you know those leads are localized and are going to pay off because your market dictates being able to pay a little bit more for a lead.
I don't mind the larger radius. I guess what I'm referring to is I don't want an 18-year-old looking at my ad.
Well, they won't. They won't. Remember, Facebook's creating lookalike audiences. So what you're doing the split test for is if an 18-year-old clicks on it, then you're going to turn that ad off, right? Like the key is Facebook is not going to run your ads in front of the wrong audiences. They're looking for the right profile. So that's why we run split tests, because like begets like. You get one like comment on it or a submission on it, it's going to find more profiles like that. That's their algorithm. So you don't have to worry. Everybody has to work with a wide open blank canvas in the beginning. There's no, we can't target anymore by income or age group or, you know, anything. Facebook that's part of their discriminatory act, but they know what you're looking for. Okay, they know what you're looking for. So once the homeowners start clicking on it, it's just going to start finding only homeowners.
And they know that the $9 you're putting down on the table for that ad in the day, they only get to take it when people click. So when they're doing that audience test, they're trying to figure out, well, who's clicking? And the 18-year-olds aren't going to click. So they're not spending your budget or your money. So the next day, Facebook figures that out and they're like, okay, these are the people who are clicking. Let's go after more profiles like this. So they're only going to chase the people who clicked, and you only pay for the people who clicked. They'll scroll right past your video, the 18-year-olds, and they'll look at they're not even on Facebook. They're on Facebook for Marketplace. They're clicking on Marketplace. I've heard they've come back just for Marketplace to buy and sell stuff. So.
Oh, yeah. I think they're clicking on Marketplace.
No, not Marcus. No, you're too old. They can't relate with you anymore. You have 4 kids.
Come on. Don't age me like that. No, you know, your Facebook is the best place. I mean, to be honest, of all the social platforms, that's where the most people are, and that's where your homeowners are. That's where your buyers are. Baby boomers, Generation Y, you know, all of it. My parents, your parents, like they're all there. So. And then the key is like everybody is just randomly scrolling their Facebook multiple times a day, from the moment they wake up to the breaks during the day to when they can't sleep at night, in the middle of the night. We're all guilty of it. So you should remember, like, no one's on Facebook today looking for you. They're not. You're just putting something in front of them that's going to interrupt that subconscious. And many times it's just like, you know, you lead with find the value of your home, or you lead with you know, what's your home really worth? Enter your address, receive your home value. Like, it seems so generic, but it's so effective, especially when done with the right capture. The reason why a lot of people struggle with doing something like, well, I can run that ad myself. I'm like, have you done it effectively? No. That's why you come to StreetText, because we have it down to a science. So it's not a lead ad, and it's the split test, and you can't run one ad at a time. You got to understand the split test. You got to understand when to turn the ad off, when to keep it going, how to measure your cost per lead, because if you're going to spend money marketing and advertising, it should be measurable. It shouldn't be on a bus, like you put it on a bus bench or something like that. Like, is it really measurable? It's just branding, you know, all that stuff's good, but this is your way of measuring every marketing dollar that you spend. And then naturally, then we're going to shift into what's our cost per conversation? What's our cost per dialogue, you know? And that becomes more fun when you start really focusing on your follow-up. Cool. Any questions before we kind of head into the end of this and kind of review pricing? This is a perfect time just to unmute yourself and ask, because, you know, while we're all here, it's not a bad question. You know, you may never know if someone's going to ask a question that you're going to want to hear.
So I asked in the chat, Nir, you responded a little bit, but I'm the marketing manager for a brokerage here in Canada. And how do you do it so that it encompasses the whole brokerage instead of individual agents?
Good question. So I think you got to get clear on who the main person's going to be, because when you're building your automations, if it's going to be reflective of a team, I think that's where you shift the way your autoresponder goes out from the email, from the very first email when you're like reviewing your emails. This would be the time to make sure that this email coming from whoever that is a team-based email and a team-based video, right? Because as far as like assigning leads, you can do that all you want. I don't think there's a system where you can you're going to have everyone log into that dashboard and kind of figure out how that all works. But it's someone's business page, it's someone's email. And so it all has to reflect that team. And you can go to your settings and go to integrations and sync as many emails as you'd like to those leads, but how you distribute those leads, that's another thing. And so it's a little bit more of, you know, you got to think a little bit, your coach can help you out with that, how it's going to work for a team. I've seen it work, but it's really, you got to think about the idea of once the ad is clicked on, how does that perceive the team and who's going to be the main person connecting and who's going to be like the face, the listing guy, you know, that person. Because whoever does go after that lead, I think they need to embrace that video communication is going to be an important aspect of their conversion, their conversations, I should say.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Anybody else? You know, for people that haven't, Jess, Tom, Michael, Shaylin, Joseph, haven't heard from some of you guys, but any questions? Just unmute yourself. This would be perfect time. Bryn.
Yeah, I got a question. So how what's the word I'm looking for? Easy is it for StreetText to work with applications like Zapier? Because I know we use like Follow Up Boss and KV Core as some of our main CRMs with our team.
Great.
And so being able to take that lead and automatically put it in there.
So what most people do with Follow Up Boss that I am aware of is they'll actually use the email parsing, because you can see it says sends leads to Follow Up Boss, and really you just ask Follow Up Boss for that email parse and it'll redirect it into it. But through Zapier, you can do a lot of things as well. So you can see StreetText integrations. And so if you click on Zapier, you search for the app that you want to connect to, and then you can connect. And, you know, Zapier is a little bit more of a complex thing. Like, you know, it's not my favorite subject to work on. So I kind of share that off to somebody that I know really is proficient with that. Stephen Whiting, founder of the company. But yes, there's always solutions through Zapier or email parsing for whatever system you're using. We'll just have to work with you on that. And that's more, you know, beyond the trial, I think, is when we'll really start working and dialing that in. Good question.
Specifically, Follow Up Boss works really well with the email parsing, and we're set up for that. Like when you notice, there'll be a pull down menu that specifically names Follow Up Boss. So we are set up that's from support. I've been told that it works best through the email parsing.
Yeah, I mean, from my expertise, or my experience, I should say, in the United States, I have found that the integrations that are most important with StreetText would be number one, like a BombBomb or Dub solution, right? for that email video communication, because if you're gonna get a lot of emails, it's important. Like for an overall long-term nurturing side on the seller side, I've seen HomeBot be really effective. But again, if it's used properly, because you have to know what to read when people are opening it and etc. And other than that, I mean, just thinking, you got to be someone who's persistent in getting a conversation. Now, don't do a follow-up like 1 or 2 times and expect that you're going to get results. Like you got to think about like 10 plus touches, personal touches, checking in, mailers, emails, text message, picking up the phone, Facebook Messenger, connecting wherever you can, right? Because this is a genuine connection. So you got to be somebody who's just like, I'm going to get the conversation started, even if they tell me to shut up. As long as I get the conversation, I've got it. Like the worst thing you could do is just be ghosted and not hear anything from them. And you think, well, I guess they weren't interested, So that's my rule of thumb here is like, I'd rather have someone told me, please take me off your list and say, and for me, I'm still saying no means not yet. You just don't know me yet. I'm gonna give you so much value. You're gonna love me at the end of the day, right? Because that's the key. Okay, Ira.
What CRM systems? Sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What CRM systems do you guys work with best with this kind of system?
When you get in the insider group, we'll invite you in. I think that's a great question because there's so many. I think it works with everyone. I can't give you one that works better than the other. Follow Boss, Line Desk, some people actually use StreetText as a CRM because it's basically built that way. So it's really because we have the full 9-month long drip email campaign built in, and you can take notes and assign leads and build pipelines and all that good stuff. So I would just ask and see what people are using. Some people use FirePoint or what's the other one we hear about all the time, Ira? Sync? Is that Sync one? Something?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of functionality in there to use CRM. So if you already have a CRM, we have a way of connecting to it. For most of them, if you don't have a CRM, then the insider group people are always like throwing in their 2 cents on what they're using and how they love it. So it's a good place to bounce it off of.
We say any CRM that you use is a good CRM.
Yeah.
So I use Facebook as a CRM. And that's a whole nother subject. We'll teach you how to use that properly because you can use friends list. Messenger is your end game, by the way, with every one of these leads. If you can get Messenger established, you can see where they are at all times because it's lit up in green. You can see when someone's read your message. So if all of you, if you're my coach or if I'm your coach, I know if you're getting my messages and I know if you're paying attention or not. And that's the same thing you got to think about. Where can I keep all the tracking and where can I send video and PDFs and voicemail and everything right in one place? That's the thing, something to think about. Okay, so let's talk about beyond this trial, Ira, what would be their next steps moving forward?
One, just get your split test up and stuff like that. Connect with your coach. Don't know who your coach is. Just message anybody at StreetText and I'll tell you who your coach is. We'll get you use of everything. But it's all about long-term mindset. I mean, if you can come in and watch one of our masterminds, sometimes you see what Wendy and other people are doing, like Jennifer, and you think, oh, wow, their process is so laborious. Like they've set up so much. They built on that over time. You don't want to compare their end game to where you're starting. They've layered it across time. So it's really a long-term mindset. Wendy was sharing a couple of weeks ago in our mastermind, somebody came in as a lead 5 months ago, didn't respond to a single thing she said, but she had friended them on Facebook and they had accepted her friendship. Still, no conversation back and forth. 5 months later, the person messages her on Facebook and says, hey, I'm ready for you to come by. You've been sending me all this stuff. Could you come and look at my house? I'm ready to list. So it's understanding that no response isn't always a good indicator of whether this is working or not. So the longer you play, the better your success is going to be. We have the 1-year plan, a 6-month plan, a 3-month plan, and Marcus was showing you there on the welcome screen when you scroll down to the bottom and you click ready to sign up. Our 3 plans are indicated. You get more value when you commit to that longer term game. So $19.20 is the cost of our platform for the entire year. That covers everything that StreetText does for that entire year. And then it renews month to month at the end of that year at $160. The 6 month is $1,020, renews month to month at the end of 6 months at $170 a month. And then the 3-month is $600, renews month to month at the end of the month at $200. A big part of this is understanding your Facebook ad budget goes on top of that. So we want to establish like what's good ad performance for you in trial. So let us help you set up that split test and let us help you kind of get an idea. What does a $9 spend look like for you in your area? Are you going to need to increase that amount to get a bigger lead flow, or can we decrease that amount because the leads coming in are coming in too fast and you can't follow up with them? So let's figure that out for you, because you'll have to factor that into your marketing for the year.
Yeah, most people, I mean, I think it's safe to say, I mean, set aside probably $300 to be safe, because you're gonna be doing some split testing, A/B testing. So $300, you know, let's just put it into perspective. $300 times 12, 3,600. I'm just gonna round that up to $4,000. 1920 for the year. Let's round that up to 2,000, call it $6,000. You know, most of your markets are gonna pull that ROI quite fast. We're not gonna do this for a deal, guys. If you're doing this for a deal, don't do it. Go to Zillow, go to Trulia, spend a lot of money. If you're doing it to build the pipeline, the long-term pipeline, you're going to plant the seeds. You're going to cultivate the soil. I'm using a little metaphor here. You're going to produce fruit. Fruit's going to come in time, but it's not going to come out all the time. Sometimes you get lucky and it springs right out of the ground right away. That happens every once in a while. People get a listing appointment in trial and they think that's what it's going to be like every week. No. Some of these people are going to ghost you for a while, but if you're going to just smother them with love and nurture them and give them great value, and over time, they're going to trust you and they're going to see that you were actually in it authentically and not just to sell their home. And in that process, you're going to see the fruit. And so that's the key, is really be about the long-term mindset with this program, and you're going to do extremely well. Yeah. And by the way, the little asterisk there is Visa or MasterCard. We have people try to use Discover and American Express, and you know, unfortunately, it doesn't work. So just know that from the get-go, Visa or MasterCard, if you're going to be using this program. You can do whatever you want with your Facebook ad budget, by the way. That's separately, because that's going to Facebook. But for StreetText Invest, it's a Visa or MasterCard. Cool, but it's free for the trial. And remember, have the experience. We want to make sure the value is there first before you guys sign up. I mean, obviously, we'd love it if you sign up right off the bat. But come in and invest in the community. Check out our training, all our courses, masterminds, conversion workshops, ad performance, you know, all this stuff. It's theirs for life. Even if you never sign up with StreetText, we want to just come from value and show you what we're all about. So be the fly on the wall, come into our Facebook community, connect with your coach. It's all complimentary, and we'll make sure it's a fit for you if you do move forward.
Hey, Marcus, I'm so sorry. Can you go back one more page to the pricing? Is that possible?
Yeah. It's right here. So you can do it yourself. Remember, if you're in your dashboard, you scroll down to the very bottom where it says ready to sign up, and you just click on the ready to get started, and it'll show you all 3 plans. And even when you pick the plan, you're going to have to go through it, click on some boxes, review the conditions, and then when you click on let's get started, you still obviously have to go put in all your information, right? Like you got to put in the payment information, your address, zip code, verify and process, and all that good stuff. So that's where you can kind of go review the terms.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great stuff. We try to do these things in 30 minutes, but it never happens.
So if we have interactive people that want to keep listening and get their questions answered, we're more than happy to stick around. Yeah. So Ira, myself, or Logan is going to be your coach. So one of the 3 of us, and so whoever texts you, just text back. We'll send you our personal calendar, and then you'll just book into that, and we'll do a one-on-one. And we understand we're going into a weekend, and we have a limited space. I know I do in my calendar today. So if you can't get connected with us, like, no worries. We will make sure you get use of your trial, even if it means booking into next week to get everything connected and everything. But that won't count for your trial use. That won't. And also, if you want us to set up your split test, send us the address or zip code that comes to mind, and we'll set it up for you. Because it's more fun to have the split test going, so you're generating leads, and then we review it together in a few days, and we pick the best ad. That's my general rule of thumb, is like, give me your address, give me the zip code that best comes to mind. Just like we did with Casey, we realized we need to move it to surprise, right? You want to make sure you know what your 15 miles is. Cool. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be in touch with you shortly.